All right, good afternoon. Welcome to Bear's new book rundown for the week of September 7th. This is the first of the, or should I say, the second week of the new releases, the new number ones. I picked up 12 out of the 13. Um, the more I looked at Static Shock, I don't like the character. I mean, I liked the cartoon back in the day. I don't like the way he was written prior. I just, honestly, I have very little love for any of the Milestone characters. So let me just be totally honest. I did not get Static Shock 13, so I'm down to getting 50. But I did get a couple of the other ones. I was really surprised. I'm going to do things a little different. I'm actually going to go from worst to best. And from worst to best, and this, I'll be honest, really didn't come as too much of a shock to me. I'll be honest, the last time I liked this character, I'm going to say Crisis of Infinite Earths number 11 and 12. That's Animal Man. Animal Man number 1. I am not picking up number 2. This is the first one that I've cut. It started off okay. I like the text page. There's a nice text page. It's an interview with him, and then it went downhill. I do not. I don't like the art. That right there, it's some of the worst art I have seen, at least to my opinion, in a very long time. I mean, if you can, I'm gonna show you. There you go. I mean, that's not overly pretty. I don't like it. I can understand the simplistic view of it, and that's okay. I like it when it can be simple, but when you get something that looks like this, I mean, Buddy Baker's wife looks possessed. I mean, really? I just didn't get it. I like the whole interaction with the kids, but honestly, the art keeps getting me like, and honestly, I don't like his costume. I prefer the orange and the orange and blue, as opposed to this. I think there's one page here where they actually have a full picture of him in costume. Yeah, he looks like a dork. I just it didn't grab me. I'm done with it. Animal One is my first DC new casualty. Next one, and this is probably going to be my second casualty. I really like the writer here. I mean, honestly, I really do. I haven't drank the Grant Morrison Kool-Aid, but Action Comics number 1 was not that good. It didn't. It just. I don't know why it didn't. I mean, honestly, I don't like Superman like this. Um, I know this is supposed to be him as a kid, or him as younger, but I'll tell you what, Superboy was never this cocky. Superman, I don't ever remember. I've been reading Superman for 30 years. I mean, pre-crisis, I've read, stuff from back in the 30s and 40s. I never remembered Superman this much of a jerk. Um, I hate the fact that they kind of retroed Clark Kent back to looking like the John Byrne style. Most people know how I feel about John Byrne. I do like the fact that Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane are in it. Trying to not give too much spoilers. The one thing I did like, the one thing that's keeping me in here for next issue, is actually Lex Luthor. He was the best part of the whole book. I gotta say that. Rags Morales' art is not as polished as what it usually is. So, just giving a little bit of warning, it's not. Action Comics number 1 deserved a little bit better. I'm going to give it a chance because it is Action Comics, but I'm going to do that. My next one, and I gotta say, this one really surprised me. I bought this strictly for the writer. I know a lot of people absolutely hate Judd Winnick, but I like him. His Batman was some of the more readable that I've read. I liked his Teen Titans run. I like the fact I like Jason Todd, and I actually kind of like Batwing. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna like it because I didn't like his character in Batman Incorporated. I just thought, this seems a little bit more fleshed out. I do gotta say the art is stellar in this. It's absolutely beautiful. It is honestly, I think that this would have been rated M for not M for mature, but it's just kind of it's very brutal and bloody. It's not a bad storyline. It does tie on with the past continuity with Batman Incorporated. So this is not you can get into this without reading Batman Incorporated. Honestly, it's not a bad comic. I will probably pick up the second one, which really surprised me because this was one of the ones I was expecting not to like. And I liked it better than what I did, or what I thought I would. So, Batwing #1, not a bad issue, real pretty. Judd Winnick did a good job winning me over. So, there's that. Next, let's see here. This really bothers me. Actually, hold on for a second. Okay. This really bothers me. Because I was really expecting more from this book. I know that they're rebooting things, and I know that they're trying to reform things. But there are still people's personalities that have been a certain way for years. And I understand a reboot, I really do, but Justice League International, I was expecting to be at the top of my list. I love each and every one of these characters except for August General and Iron. I don't particularly care for him. I do like how Tora is written. You really can't see my head there. Tora is written. Ice is written very confident. Competent, not confident. Competent. I love that. Too often they make her this little shy thing that doesn't know what to do. No, this Tora. I don't know the extent. Excuse me 1 second. My comics just fell. But I don't know to the extent that they rebooted her. So I'm just going to take it as to fact. Give me 1 second. Kind of embarrassing. But anyway, Gypsy, or not Gypsy, and I can remember her real name, Mary. Vixen comes across as, I don't know, real green in this issue. I didn't like it to where, I don't know, it just kind of was disappointing. I like the fact that Batman's in it. He's making a tie between the old and new. What this is it just doesn't. This does not seem fresh. This does not seem new. The United Nations taking over Justice League. Well, where did we see this before? I was hoping at the end of Justice League Generation Lost, where Batman and Booster had the little heart-to-heart, where we were going to see Justice League International. I was hoping that would be more like that. More of a Batman Incorporated style. Instead, we've got your mysterious liaison who is trying to micromanage the team. Well, you know what? We've been seeing that for years with Justice League and the Avengers both. Just not... I'm not necessarily sold on this. I'm gonna get this, and honestly, Booster comes across okay. I don't particularly like his new costume, but it'll grow on me. Guy Gardner was Guy Gardner. Yeah. Godiva was a bit of a bitch. I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, she was a bitch. So, I mean, the art was good, but Aaron Lepestre's art's usually good. Dan Jurgens, I hate saying this. Dan Jurgens needs to stick to doing what he does best, and that's pencils. I don't like Dan Jurgens written. His when he's a writer. Sorry, that's just the way I say it. But anyway, Justice League International one. I will of course get the next one, but it's not. This is not a definite hit for my part. All right. So now let's take a look at the rest of my comics, see where what I dropped. Okay. No, everything looks good still. All right, next. This came to me as a surprise. I'm not overly fond of this character. And honestly, I didn't like the cover. The cover was kind of ugly. Um, but the inside was beautiful. And honestly, this is really came to be a surprise to me. Swamp Thing #1. I just really enjoyed this book. I like the fact that it's set up. It's definitely a darker book. I like the cameo of Superman. I like the implied past and history. I really like this. It's a beautiful book on the inside. You get to know more about Alec Holland in one issue than you have in the past 15 years, 20 years of comics. Alec Holland is a likable character. I just really enjoy it. It sets the plots for, there's 2 or 3 different subplots going on through here. Set up for the next run. This is a must buy. Really enjoyed Swamp Thing #1. Really. Next, we've got. Actually, there was a mistake. That should have came a little bit later, but we'll just go back to my misses here. Or not misses, but anyway. Next was Stormwatch #1. Let me just preface this by saying I have never read any Stormwatch title before. The only thing I know is Apollo and Midnighter, I believe, were gay and married in the prior universe. I know nothing about these people. I loved the reason why I'm getting this is for one line in here. One line that's keeping me going here. And it's a Martian Manhunter line. It says here, I'm going to give a little bit of spoiler here. I recognize you, the Martian Manhunter from the Justice League. So this is what you do to people. You turn them down, you kill them. He said, John Jones says, this has gone far enough. We need your help because you may be the most powerful person on this planet. You spend your time solving small crises. We need you to help save the world. I am known in some quarters as a hero. I can wear that shape. But when I need to be a warrior, I do it with Stormwatch. I like the fact that he's splitting the two. He is in Justice League. I mean, he is a member of the Justice League. Make no doubts about it. He is a member. So all you people can get off your high horses. I like the fact that when he gets brought, this is almost kind of reminds you of the way X-Force was with the more recent, when Cyclops needed his hit team. This looks like a more epic Justice League task force, per se, with Wildstorm characters. I'm kind of excited about it. It was well done. The art, Paul Cornell, he's a great writer. Miguel I can't even pronounce his name in Spanish, I believe, Sepúlveda. I've never heard of him. He did a good job. I really enjoyed it. Enough subplots to go on, enough history on this. This could be a wild card. I think that this might be one of the books to watch that could actually go very far and do very well, provided that everything goes through. Its potential goes through. It lives up to its potential. So, as of right now, Stormwatch, I really enjoyed. Gotta hand it to him. Next. Okay, here we go. I was not gonna buy this. I kept thinking to myself, I don't want to buy this. I don't like the writer. I like the writer more as an artist, kind of like Dan Jurgens. Tony Daniels, Detective Comics. #1, it was good. It's a Joker story, so I mean, it's kind of hard to screw up the Joker. The one thing I didn't like, there's the one thing real quick that I did not like is I kind of like the way that they did the Batman monologue throughout the whole thing. But there was one statement from Batman that I just really thought was just really dumb. And I can't even find it now. He just sounds like Bruce Wayne. He's a jerk. I'm really hoping, really hoping that Alfred is a real person and not just a hologram. I just, I just, I don't know. It wasn't a bad Batman story. You know, I just, I don't know. It was okay. I like, like I said, it's a Joker story. He did good. Now the ending, I didn't see coming, and I don't know if anybody wants spoilers or not. Um, if you want spoilers, email me bearscout05@aol.com. I'll let you know. I was shocked, and honestly, the last page is enough to get me to buy number 2. So, Detective Comics number 1, not the greatest. Some of it was good, some of it was bad. I still don't like Tony Daniels' writing. So, there we go. Next, okay. After vomiting for a bit, calling myself a hypocrite, I did buy something. And you guys can laugh at me, mock me, whatever you want. I bought Batgirl number 1. I still think Gail Simone's a total bitch. I have zero respect for her as a person in the regards that I have interacted with her personally. I don't like her. That said, it's a good book. I got it, and a lot of it has to do to Adrian Syaf, I believe, is the artist. The complete and utter joy he draws on Barbara's face here sold me on this book. She looks like she has missed this for so many years, and she is loving it. They glossed over a little bit of what really happened. I mean, they do, her paralysis is definitely in continuity. There's actually a timeline where she was actually paralyzed for 3 years. So, if you think about it, you have the first 3 years Batman done around, 3 years with Robin, or with Dick Grayson as Robin, 3 years of, what's her name? 3 years, and then she spent 3 years, last 3 years as Oracle. It makes sense. It does very well. The art is just absolutely beautifully rendered. The only thing I really didn't know is they never really. She gets a roommate, and they don't really tell her name. And it's just kind of odd. So I don't know her thing. It's a good book. I liked it. I will buy the next one. This doesn't mean I'm going to be a Gail Simone fan, far be it. But I did like this book, and I did like the character, and I did like. I really did like it. So, way to go. I feel a little dirty now, but hey. Batgirl number 1 must get. Goodbye. Good read. Next. Okay, haters. You can hate all you want. Honestly, the cover's not the greatest either. But Sterling Gates knocked it out of the park with Hawk and Dove number 1. I really like this book. It's Liefeld. Love him, hate him, say what you want. I really like to see the looks. I like his art. And I really like him on Hawk and Dove. He draws Dove or Dawn Granger just to perfection. Probably better than almost anybody else. They talk about Dawn Hall. They talk about this is just Sterling Gates did an awesome job breaking it down, giving you enough history, giving you enough passion behind it, letting you know what the heck's going on, telling you a little bit about things. A couple things have changed here and there. but it also gives enough continuity that kept in with Brightest Day and Blackest Night and Crisis of Infinite Earths. I mean, it talks about, I mean, I love how he talks about how, you know, the rest of the story, Pop, during the worst crisis this world's ever seen, Dove got killed doing what he did best. Almost a picture by picture of Dawn Hall getting killed in Crisis of Infinite Earths. Fan-freaking-tastic. And honestly, this double page spread, I love. Dawn looks fantastic. I like this book. I love it. I can't wait for the next one. I am loving Hawk and Dove. Next, we've got... I got about a boner on this one. Men of War #1. This is not your father's Sergeant Rock. However, it's Sergeant Rock's grandson. And I can't say a bad thing about it. It gets into detail about, you know, what different weapons are, but they give you the little boxes. They let you know what's going on. The detail behind this book is phenomenal. The art is beautiful. There's a backup feature. I mean, it reminded you. This just reminded me so much of our old, you know, the Weird War tales. Remember, you know, the old tales where you had, you know, your first part, and then you had your little 8-page extra, and I love this. This was a great book. If you like war books, if you like Sergeant Rock, if you like a good, real story, but it also has the superhuman element in it too. You don't see who it is, but there is somebody here that's got superpowers. You don't know what the story is. This book gets you. I am so glad this came out. I hope and hope and hope this lasts a very long time. Love this book. This is one of my must reads. Gotta get it. All right, we've got, let's see here, 2 to go. And if anybody's keeping track, you guys are gonna be, I know someone who's gonna be really pissed off at me, but my second best is OMAC #1. I know everybody's talking about what a horrible writer Dan Dido is. I love this book. This book, from start to finish, is one of the best comics I've read in the past 10 years. Keith Giffen is just channeling his inner Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby would be proud to see this. I think that, you know, your average person could not tell the difference between, on a real glance, between Jack Kirby's work and this book. And Dan the Man, Triple D, Double D, whatever they call him, he did a phenomenal job. He let you have the story. He got you right into the action. He kept filling you in what you needed to know. And he introduced characters in a perfect way. I don't have a bad thing to say about this book. I loved it. It was fantastic. I'm not overly fond of the big giant mohawk, the floppy mohawk. That I will take off that. But they introduced Project Cadmus. The people who worked there love this. The last page is fantastic. Not only did it give you like a oh my god moment, but it's also kind of funny too. Awesome job, Dan. I'm really glad that you're back here on this book. This is fantastic. Now, my bomb of the bunch was Animal Man #1. Typically, when I do this, I do a best of the bunch and bomb of the bunch. Kind of changing up a little bit for this because I'm going to be doing 13 books or 12 books or however I get. So right now, my best of the bunch, the last book, and honestly, I know somebody cringing right now, and it was Green Arrow #1. This book was perfection. First, you've got Dan Jurgens pencils, okay? Awesome work. I mean, it looks fantastic. Oliver Queen is not the obnoxious prick that he has been the past 25 years. Oliver Queen is a hero. He is a good guy. He is a low-tech meets high-tech and just doing the right thing. I'm so sorry, Mark. I know you're probably screaming right now. I loved this book. This is not the Green Arrow that you know. This is not the Green Arrow that's cheated on his Black Canary for years. This is not the Green Arrow that is so ultra liberal that is kind of disgusting. This is a good hero. This is a great hero. This is J.T. Cruel with Dan Jurgens and George Perez. You can tell, you can see the George Perez influence on the inks. I just can't. Honestly, I really like it. Plus, his freaking stupid Van Dyke goatee thing is gone. He's younger. I'm betting he's in his early 30s now, instead of looking like he was in his late 40s, early 50s. He's kind of like he crosses a little bit of Red Arrow, a little bit of Connor, and a lot of Ollie, the good parts of Ollie Queen. So my book of the bunch is Green Arrow #1. So in closing, we've gone the whole gambit. I did not pick up Static Shock. Animal Man 1, forgettable. Action Comics needs to step it up. Morrison needs to do better to impress me. Batwing, currently along for the ride. Winnick has not let me down yet. Justice League International needs a lot of work. Swamp Thing, beautiful, beautiful book. Must get. Stormwatch #1, I'm in it for as long as it's done well. Batman Detective Comics, I've seen better, I've seen worse. It's not a bad book. The ending alone is what puts this up here. Batgirl, hate to say it, getting it next month. Hawk and Dove, fantastic. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Men of War, awesome, awesome, awesome. OMAC, fan-freaking-tastic. One of the best books I've read in decades. And Green Arrow, #1, my book of the bunch. The best of the new 52 that's come out this week, the top 13. So this is, oh, and one other thing, little bits for all you old school Legion fans. I've got bits of Legionnaire business. You might remember that. I finally got my last 4 adventure comics. I've got my finally picked up Legion 16. I gotta say, didn't like Legion 16. Everything just seemed forced. And they're not written. I don't know if Levitz forgot to write Shadowlass. That wasn't her. I'm still thinking she's a Darla and it's Yara's stepsister who's placed her. I didn't like it. I'm sure most of you by now have known Earthman dies, he sacrifices, and that was okay, but everything felt real forced. Didn't like it. Now, Adventure, on the other hand, the last 4 were really great. Really enjoyed them. So, anyway, so that's a little bits of Legionnaire business. I cannot wait till Legion Secret Origins. That way I can get my ring. Not that I don't have one. I do have my Metal Flight ring from back in the 90s. So, but I still want this one to catch up with all my other plastic rings. So, anyway, this has been Bear's new book rundown for the week of September 7th. I will see you next week.